Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Securing the Browser, How PCI DSS version 4 initiated a client-side protection journey. It's time for us to start. This webinar today is a case study featuring Jscrambler's client, Marriott Vacations Worldwide. We will dive into their journey from identifying key challenges with PCI DSS version 4, particularly anti-skimming requirements, to recognizing the risks posed by third-party scripts, which drove early action to protect critical payment pages. We hope this webinar will be useful to companies looking to improve PCI DSS compliance and to explore end-to-end client-side protection that extends beyond the payment page to the entire website. It looks like more and more people are joining, so I think we can start. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Now, sorry, I will introduce the speakers. I am Katya. I'm a product marketing manager at Jscrambler, and I am hosting this webinar today. TJ Goldsmith is a PCI compliance program director at Marriott Vacations Worldwide. His story and his experience are at the center of our webinar today. I will spend just a little bit of time explaining the housekeeping rules. This webinar will take approximately 1 hour. You can use the chat window to ask questions and leave comments. The webinar format is features a case study discussion between the host, me, and the speaker. We'll have a Q&A at the end of the session. After the webinar, you will receive an email with the recording and any kind of additional useful resources on the topic from us. And we will have a couple of polls during the session, so be ready to participate. Our agenda today. So we will start with a brief introduction to Jscrambler and then TJ and Marriott Vacations, then discuss the key challenges related to PCI DSS requirements 643 and 1161, the research phase, the key selection factors for a compliance solution. Then we'll discuss the implementation phase and how compliance success look like. Finally, TJ will share the key lessons and advice on the importance of client-side protection. And as always, we'll be open for a Q&A session at the end. I'd like to briefly introduce Jscrambler. The company was founded in 2010, so we've been doing client-side protection for over 15 years. We are a principal participating organization and have members who are on the board of advisors. Outside of our involvement with PCI, Jscrambler was the first to introduce a platform to protect both first-party and third-party JavaScript. And our web page integrity product has been on the market for over 6 years, and its anti-skimming capabilities were developed long before the PCI DSS version 4 was announced in 2022. Now, let me hand it over to TJ, who will share a little bit about his background in compliance and his company.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for that, Katya. I'm TJ Goldsmith. I work at Marriott Vacations International, Worldwide, MVW. We're not Marriott International. We're a separate company. We do share the same family name. Housekeeping on my part. My views and opinions are not representative of either MVW or MI. They're my own. MVW is a vacation ownership company primarily. We're a relatively large global hospitality and travel brand itself. We're also a little bit complex. The MVW brand itself encompasses 6 separate entities under the corporate umbrella. Because we are organized in a relatively unique way, even though we're a relatively large company, we do self-assess PCI compliance here. And myself and my little team manages the compliance work for all 6 entities simultaneously.
Yeah, and so to kick us off, TJ, could you share some insight into your team who was involved with PCI from the start, and maybe a little bit about your role as an ISA?
Sure. So I am an ISA. I've been here at MVW now for over 5 years. I mentioned small staff. I have 2 full-time employees. We're a lean and very, very efficient group. I have the way that I've organized the team. It's only 2, so it's relatively easy. I have an experienced employee who manages or spends most of his time focusing on actual PCI assessments, control testing, evidence gathering. I have another full-time head who's a little bit more versed in technology, and that individual focuses on PCI scope. Beyond my work here as an ISA, and everybody on my team, we all act as internal consultants. We give guidance and direction to the businesses as needed. So here we, basically a full serve PCI team, providing the assessment and control testing activities, as well as guidance and direction.
Right. I have a question about your team. Is it fair to say that you did not anticipate growing your team and instead focused primarily on finding a solution that did not require a lot of resources to manage it? Would it be fair to say that?
Absolutely. We are in the hospitality business, and if you look at the last, I guess in this case, 3 or 4 years now, there's been an internal drive to reduce costs, increase efficiencies, and along those lines, when I look for something, go out to the market and look for a tool, right? So in this case, when we're looking at those 2 new PCI requirements, I'm driven by the fact that it's a small team. We have to be efficient.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And when I say efficient in every way, right? We have to quick to act. Can't spend a lot of time hovering in, over a specific task or in a specific area.
Yeah. And now let's talk a little bit about how the journey started and the key challenges you had to overcome. Could you talk us through what the situation looked like in the beginning for you with PCI?
So when those 2 new requirements came out, I'm rather in tune with the council itself. We were not caught off guard by the new requirements. And thankfully we used that on-ramp time properly in order to come to what we think is an excellent solution to both 6.4.3 and 11.6.1. Some of the challenges we had to overcome. My team, we don't operationalize controls, right? We do have that separation from that. We are providing the compliance work, the assessment, oversight and governance. Um, I'm beat the horse dead here, right? We're a small team. There's three of us. It's a highly complex business model. MVW represents the MVW brand. We also are Hyatt Vacation Club, Hyatt Residence Club, Interval International, Aqua Austin Hospitality, the Sheraton and Westin brands as well, through partnership with Vistana, right? So 4 different vacation ownership brands. I say VO, vacation ownership. A lot of other people refer to that as timeshare. But all 3 brands operate independently of each other. Part of that is through contractual obligations, legal agreements. The business model itself around timeshare is complex. It's a product that's sold, um, uh, you know, through sales galleries. It's we originate loans and mortgages to support those purchases. We run many homeowners associations and associations. We deal with quite a few property developers. Since we originate loans, we service those loans. And just to add to the complexity, we are a vacation ownership exchange. We do third-party management. We do travel planning globally. MVW is 120 resorts. Those properties have food and beverage outlets, amenities, golf courses, all different types of spas, golf courses. I said already. And at the end of this discussion around the complexity, my team has documented 160 card data flows. If there's a way for this company or any company to process a credit card any way, shape, or form, we do it here. Highly complex.
Yes, highly complex. And now that we understand the context, we can start talking about the research phase, how it all began, I believe, in 2022.
Interesting. Okay, so right, the new version of PCI DSS version 4.0 came out. Um, uh, we quickly identified several areas where the version 4 of the DSS was going to provide challenges. This slide's fun for me to look at because it's you know uh, it just happened, but it seems so long ago. Uh,
Yeah, it does.
right, the
I agree.
vulnerability scans, vulnerability management aspect to those new to version 4, posed a challenge for us. And when I say so many inventories, inventory of this, inventory of that, inventory of the other thing. Inventory was an interesting word in the DSS for us. And then of course 643 and 1161. I'm fond of saying welcome to Florida. It's a 3-letter acronym for me, WTF. While we knew payment page protections were coming in the DSS, when you actually finally get that first version of it and start reading it, I looked at that and I was like, wow, I have, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, back in the day, I remember it was there was a lot of anxiety and confusion, and I think later on we got a lot of clarifications, right, to sort of to put us at ease.
Yeah, no, it
Um,
was clearly a journey, right? And the interesting thing is, for us here at MVW, uh, we were fortunate enough to realize that challenge and to begin that journey fairly early on. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it ultimately did help reduce that anxiety, right? When you're prepared, when you're
Yeah,
better
we were
prepared for.
the 100% compliant uh, before we needed to be, for 643 and 1161. Clearly that the there was a lot of individual components to the success here, but I'm a firm believer in starting early, using all the on-ramp that you provided, and kind of go with it. And I think the slide that you're showing kind of talks to that, right? Uh, we don't miss a PCI community meeting. So when we were in Portland, in 2023, it's when we started investigating this space more than anything, right? The initially, I didn't call it client side at all. I just called it 643 and 1161 because we looked at absolutely every solution that we could find that was out there, right? And it was a journey for me. It was a journey for my team. We needed to understand, CSP, some resource integrity. My technical person had to bone up their Java skills, right, and start to understand HTTP headers and the way a web page works. Um, Going back to the complexity of the organization, I'm happy to say that we do have a complete inventory of our web-based payment pages that accept credit cards. The fact that um, uh, that was not an easy uh, small task to accomplish. I'm a full disclosure person. It took 9 months here for us to discover every single web-based page where we accept credit cards. That kind of just talks to the complexity of the organization.
Yes, it's kind of
And
insane
again,
to hear about it. 9 months.
a lot of interesting things happened over that 9 months. One of the
Mhm.
things is, you start to discover shadow IT. So it was quite interesting, right? Going
Mhm.
back to the complexity of the organization, we have multiple CDNs, multiple WAF vendors. You think about, uh, how to operate separate brands and keep them separate. And as you go through, you know, selecting like a WAF vendor as an example, right? What works for one brand might not work for another. And while we do a really good job with the shared service model here, we try to service each brand very, very similar. It's not always possible for a bunch of different reasons. The other thing that we found was uh, our marketing sites are frequently updated, and that kind of drove us towards um, a solution like Jscrambler, because there were other vendors out there that have tools in the space that work differently, but uh, most of our websites are highly dynamic. Um, where look and feel, navigation will change extremely frequently, right? A lot of seasonal stuff happens, so there's marketing pages that will take a user, through the user experience to a payment page that are changed monthly. Um, I did already, kind of touch on shadow IT. Our marketing and sales teams do their own site refreshes frequently outside of IT. So complex, not a easy uh, uh, organization to
Yeah.
wrap your arms around.
Yeah. And you did mention CDNs and WAFs.
Hmm.
Could you elaborate a little bit more about on why not a CDN for PCI DSS compliance, for example?
That goes to my overarching desire to, in this case, for 631 and I'm sorry, 643 and 1161, one of the overarching drivers was um, uh, a solution that directly met those two requirements. I could not have a solution, the two words I heard frequently is, well, we help you or help support your compliance with 643 and 1161. And I always ask, well, how do you support my, that? And it's, well, you can run all these reports and you can dice it this way and you can, and, you can analyze it. And that manual work was something that we needed to avoid. We needed a solution that literally directly met 643 and 1161.
And I
And
guess,
we did not find that with the CDNs, and I have yet to find a WAF provider, that uh, meets those requirements directly.
and I guess not a CSP or a combination of CSP and SRI for that exact same reason, the
Yeah.
manual aspect of it.
Absolutely. Right. I'm not a marketing person for everybody who's listening right now, right? But and I think we might see a slide in a little while where I kind of talk about some of the other things that I needed or what my desires were, right? One of the beautiful things about the solution is front page of the dashboard, there's 3 buttons: run this inventory, run that inventory, and show me, how the tool is working, to meet a couple of bullet points in 1163 and 1161. Very specific, right? So the ease of assessing and showing that we're compliant is paramount, right? Like that was and again, my team not operationalizing and control. I don't want somebody manipulating data in Excel that they're going to have to assess further down the road. So yeah.
Right.
Complex place. I guess I beat this point over and over and over again. And this, what's interesting here is I'm not trying to be sound marketing or salesy, right? But here, Jscrambler really stepped up for us. It took 9 months to identify all of the payment pages. We have more than 15, but we do have about 14 or 15 unique code bases. And through our partnership with Jscrambler, early on, you folks were a pleasure to work with, right? That worked out. It was difficult, but it worked out well for us. And I see that the point on the slide, there was a small little silver lining in there. We actually found an area of the business that fully outsourced their payment pages. And that got me all excited because I really thought, back in 2022 or 2023, maybe I could drive the organization to fully outsource payment pages at some point in time. It's never going to happen. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think this is a good time for us to take a short break. And here we have a poll, and the question posed in the poll is, what has been the most valuable criterion to you when looking for a PCI solution? We'll discuss the results towards the end, but the answer variants are straightforward evidence of compliance with 643.1161, ease of deployment and integration, automation and reduced internal burden, and finally, actionable alerting and ready workflows. And now we can move on and talk in more detail about key selection criteria. how you were evaluating solutions and yeah, anything that was of importance to you on that journey.
So coming into this, I had very personally, and again, my tech person on my staff, um, not a lot of experience, knowledge in web development. You know how a website works. Um, we were, and originally we were not looking to learn this, right? The idea, again, said it, small team, very limited resources. We need a tool that requires um, a very, very low bar to deploy. Something that's extremely easy to maintain, um, and to use, and you know, with all of those payment pages, it's also fair to say that an alerting tool that's client side based is going to be chatty, right? There's not much there. I have whoever, one of my owners, we call our customers owners here. If an owner has decided to install some extension in their browser, right? That extension is running in that client side session in that browser. And so once start to account for that, the tool needs to cut out that noise quickly, right? That we need no noise there. And then the way that the tool works, right? That getting that JavaScript down on a payment page is easy to deploy, even with 15 payment pages and a pretty complex organization. That was one of the easiest things that we had to do here. Yeah, and I do like the GUI, right? The portal makes sense to me. Dashboard's great. Um, uh, there was no learning curve for me at all, to use the portal. And then, for my SOC analysts, again, it's almost no learning curve as well. We do have Jscrambler talking to our SIM. So that's pretty much that. Oh, vendor reputation and risk. This company is crazy. We are risk adverse here. We will not approve a vendor. I've never seen a company reject new vendors at the volume that we reject here. Highly risk adverse, right? So bringing on, a new vendor in this space um, poses its own challenge here internally. I'm also been around a little while. I've got my mind and my desires. I'm pretty well entrenched. I avoid aggressive sales tactics whenever possible. Not a big fan of SDRs and the rest of it. I found through the entire process and even up to today with Jscrambler, the transparency, the ease in communication, um, the I said transparency, right? But just the honesty through the whole thing. Um, uh, I'm again happy with the selection of Jscrambler. Very, very happy with
And you mentioned scrutiny with vendors.
it. Mm-hmm.
And I guess for our viewers, I wanted to clarify, is it primarily tied to customer trust because you have so many brands, so many websites, so many pages that your customers interact with? You have to be really you have to be scrutinizing all your partners, everyone you're working with.
Yep, absolutely. The a lot of what information security does here at this company is brand reputation based, right? You go back to the core industry, right? Vacation ownership, you want to call it timeshare, right? The brand reputation is paramount. Those owners get noisy out in the social media when they're not happy, and that's for sure.
That's for sure. That's 100%, yes. Um, and I think, yeah, next up, the moment of truth. Why did you select Jscrambler? But I think you've mentioned several things already. And of course, would like to hear about the current PCI DSS status at
Mhm.
Marriott Vacations.
This is kind of interesting. The When you looked at the travel industry in general, um, right, from 2020 to I'll say 2023 for now, right? The early in the pandemic, obviously the industry more, essentially went to zero, right? Nobody was traveling. It affects our sales cycle in a little bit longer. Our sales cycle is a little bit longer than typical. So, building that momentum back up again, going from zero and trying to come back up. 2022 is a fabulous year for hospitality. If you had a heartbeat in 2022, you were making money. But that quickly came back down in 2023 to, COVID levels, essentially. Um, that's the year that we were negotiating with Jscrambler. So I think ultimately being able to cover the 15 payment pages at a price point that we were able to come to was one of the main drivers. I have all my other underlying things, right? The dealing with dealing with you folks, throughout that entire process. The fact that the tool directly meets the requirements, easy to use, everything that we've mentioned already, is, it's there, but, it's a, um, I don't, to be fair and to be honest, we here at this company, we did not have to make any compromises uh, uh, with Jscrambler, to bring them on. It's highlighted there in yellow, on time, under
Mhm.
budget. And I can't say enough good things.
And yeah, you mentioned here on the slide other internal teams outside of PCI compliance. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes. I the What was interesting was especially around header security, I guess, right? It was a little bit eye-opening here.
Mhm.
So we were able to, the PCI team was able to go back to some of our application developers, some of the folks in marketing and sales, and drive conversations around not just complying with 643 and 1161, but raising the overall security posture of the organization in general, right? Like we try here in MVW, inside the PCI program to use PCI requirements, if you will, the framework, the standard, excuse me, um, uh, to help push for and help drive and help motivate for increased security posture, and the fact that with such little effort on our part, we're able to uh, bring technical data that's real, true, to the table, and show this to teams, really help drive. It still does today. A more improved security posture here.
Would it be safe to say that our product achieved kind of the objective? objectives set out for it?
Absolutely, right. In every regard, directly meeting 643 and 1161. I haven't really touched on, the Jscrambler's life cycle over this time either, right? The product is the tool solution, um, has gone through many improvements. We're starting to lean more into what I refer to as automation intelligence. For me, AI is automation intelligence. It's not necessarily artificial intelligence. But we're looking forward to leveraging some of the AI aspects, the new AI aspects in the platform as well.
Yes, Jscrambler's AI assistant. Yeah, so speaking of results, I think we can discuss or at least summarize the operational benefits. I think you've already mentioned most of it. No, actually everything, right? But I think it's a good place for us to summarize.
And our sim here was, I don't know. I would have thought that integration would have been a little bit more straightforward from our side. But today, what everybody else refers to as a SOC, Security Operations Center, right? They're in their monitoring tool, and responding to alerts that Jscrambler is sending. Well, knock on wood, I think we've been in that process now for, where are we? Beginning of February. Only about 2 months. But my SOC has not seen an alert. Right? It's wonderful, but it does. You have to understand that client side, and how a browser works to really kind of understand the magnitude of that statement, right? Like, if I've got that one person out there running that one browser extension, that's scraping data from their browser session, right? We see that in the tool, right? The fact that we've gotten that to a point in time where it's not alerting on that. And now I say we, it's really you folks, Jscrambler. We didn't do anything there, right? That's more of the maturity of the platform. And you did kind of mention that, right? You guys have been at this, you folks have been at this before it was a PCI requirement. So there's the experience that you have there, and that I see that in that not chatty comment, right? An alert is almost certainly not a false positive.
So there's no alert fatigue, which is important.
It's absolutely there, right? The first time we turned it on, right? And before we got to where we are with it today, for me, the shock of there's I don't want to date myself, but way back in the day, there was a well-known free antivirus company who's still around today. I haven't heard their name mentioned in years and years, and all of a sudden, bam! I have a JavaScript running on one of my payment pages from, it points to a URL that this company controls, right? And I was like, what's going on? I had, and that was my first real eye-opening experience of monitoring that client side, right? It's not all our stuff. A lot of it's ours, but a lot of it is the person who's using that browser, that computer, that device. So yeah, that really goes back to that, the alerts not being chatty, right? When you think about it.
Yeah. And now I think, yeah, it's a good place to also to have our second and final poll. The question posed is, are you still looking for a PCI solution? And the variants are yes, no, we have a provider, or the last one is we're looking to switch providers. We will discuss both polls a little bit later, and now I think to sort of now we're moving towards the final part of the webinar. Here again, I think we'll just be summarizing the experience, and TJ will share some key lessons and advice to those who are looking for a client-side protection solution. I'm not sure. We'll see when we discuss the poll whether a lot are still looking for PCI DSS solution. I don't think so. I think everyone is meeting the requirements at this point, but what could be happening is folks might be reconsidering and maybe trying to find a different solution that is more fitting for their needs, so to say. So yeah, here is, again, I'm handing over it to you, TJ, to just provide some final takeaways.
Sure, thanks. We've kind of touched on the first three here real quickly. What I will say, and I'm trying not to overtly market here, right? Because that's not my intent at all. Uh, and to be fair, I'm a full disclosure person. We still look at the market here, right? Sure, yes, we've signed up with Jscrambler, but there's always a drive in an organization, especially an organization that's trying to, to be more efficient, to cut costs, to save money wherever possible, right? It's not like, we're not talking to our WAF vendors, right? I do feel at this point in time pretty strongly, I'm pretty confident in the fact that I know we haven't found anything else out there in the market today that provides all of the benefits from the length of time Jscrambler's been at this, to the to the ease to use the solution, directly meeting the PCI requirements. In all fairness, again, we've had 2 QSAs come in and look at this, right? It's not like we're relying solely on my opinion. The tool directly meets the PCI requirements. The 15 payment pages is a lot. That list goes on and on. But the confident with the choice, probable, we're going to continue on in the foreseeable future for Jscrambler, right? I'm trying to say here, and I guess I'll say it outright, I'm not married to Jscrambler. But we are going to continue down the road with you folks in the foreseeable future. So there's that aspect of it, right? Trying not to sound like a salesperson.
Yeah, of course, there is a relationship, and we have to maintain that relationship and make sure that we provide the most benefit to you.
And the lesson or the point that I'm trying to make here is that all that exists in this relationship, right? Like that's we've been with you folks now for, I'll say, since the beginning, right? But we're well into the first contract with you. Almost probably going to be renewing it, right? We're happy. So on that poll, are we looking for somebody else? No. Not overtly,
Yeah, but that's really great to hear. And yeah, I think it's time for us to discuss the poll results. Let me check. So poll number one was about the most valuable criterion when looking for a PCI solution, and the winner is, I think that was expected, straightforward evidence of compliance with 643 and 1161. I think another interesting question would be actually to ask about the features people found most valuable after they implemented the necessary controls for 643 and 1161, because of course the goal at the beginning was always to meet the requirements directly. And then I think it would be interesting to see what people valued the most after they started getting those alerts, after they started looking at potential threats. But I think that, yeah, that's something we could maybe discuss in another session, but
I I
TJ
will
already
say that
shared info.
I will say that if there's anybody on the call that's curious, right, and you know in the future you're gonna have a conversation with Jscrambler around this. I think one of the things to touch on, you know, when you're talking to them is the uh, the thought just went out of my head. It's so funny because it wasn't on the slide, but the it'll come back to me.
That's fine. Yeah, we still have some time. But yes, automation and reduced internal burden was the second most popular answer. I think a lot of people relate to that, to what you said about that.
Um, it was a
And
feature. I was going to talk about a feature, and let me just touch on it real quickly. The because we didn't talk about the any. I don't mention the flexibility of the platform at all. Uh, uh, we use it in a manner that works with our business, right? The flexibility in being able to block specific JavaScripts from exfiltrating data from the browser is, you know, just a really neat feature, right? Like, you know, if I wanted to turn off a specific thing, you know, a specific JavaScript from exfiltrating data from the browser, it's simple in the tool. Uh, there's quite a few things. My marketing and sales people love the fact of, you know, what we refer to as the panic button, right? I have a one big button I can turn it off. You know,
without
our
interrupting the performance, right? It's
right.
you do it at no risk to interrupting
Well,
any of your operations.
yeah, you know, we get a call from, you know, SOC gets a call, you know, saying, you know, something appears to be down. You know, we haven't, knock on wood, we haven't had the occasion to turn it off yet, but you know, essentially it has a panic button, right? You know, if we think Jscrambler is the problem that's preventing this company from processing credit card payments, turn off from a pane of glass. I can do it, my staff can do it, SOC can do it, right? You know, the there's a lot of features built in that you need to talk to a sales rep to learn about. I'm not this is just a little toe in the deep end of the pool kind of a thing. There's a lot more to it than um, what I'm saying here.
Yeah, but it's easy for you to um, restrict access to any party vendor that
Yep.
could be, maybe activated by your marketing team or sales
hmm
team, and it appears to be.
And you can get as granular as you want, right? You can go all the way down to that one script and you know decide what you want the tool to do with it, right? And the other neat thing, you know, that I've come to learn is that word block doesn't necessarily mean block, right? Because you know technically the way the tool work, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this or not, but the you know if there's a JavaScript that's running on a payment page, right, that script will still work
Yes, yes, that's
right?
important for people to hear. Yeah.
And do what that script is supposed to be doing or what it was designed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to, I use the word block, but it's obfuscate, encrypt the data that that script is trying to exfiltrate from the browser, right? It's a tremendous feature there. That's the, if it was a bad actor and we were trying to find them, we can, I'm not turning off the bad actor, right? We're letting the bad actor think the bad actor is still being bad.
Yes,
Right? There's
absolutely.
lots of features in there.
Yes, and you're right in mentioning that. I think we want to move away from um, the word block and instead say restricting access, right? We're not preventing anyone from performing. So if marketing has a lot of scripts that they're adding, they can still perform, so to say, their job, but they will not access certain data. So that's our goal. And yeah, in that poll, finally, the third answer, most popular answer was ease of deployment and integration. And the second poll asked the question, are you still looking for a PCI solution? Most people, so we have 67% saying, no, we have a provider. And surprisingly, 33% saying yes, which means they are looking for a PCI solution at the moment, which is very interesting because I thought maybe folks would vote for, we're looking to switch providers because I think, oh, well, either providers or, to switch from maybe an internal solution or CSP/SRI to a different vendor, different provider. But yeah, that's quite interesting. I don't know if you, among your peers, you could notice something like that happening, that some organizations would still struggle or would still be looking for a PCI solution today. Does it make
So
sense to you?
um, it's interesting, when Katya, when you were, talking through that just now, the thing that rattled through my brain was length of contract, right? And you look at the time, if somebody's in an industry where 3-year contracts are prevalent, I won't call them the norm, right? But if there's somebody out there that's signed up for a 3-year contract, they've probably done it in the past year or two. So I could see how some answers might be, we're not looking at this point in time, right? Just to kind of validate that data point. Um, I think it's a fair response. The here in MVW is a little bit different approach. I don't want to say we're always shopping, but the there is a constant drive to, depending on the scenario, either consolidate vendors or pull specific functionality out, like we did with Jscrambler, and go. And I'm going to use the word niche, but we have a tool that does two things for us, right? Essentially, to oversimplify, but it meets 643 and 1161. There's a ton of other functionality and tools besides the WPI, right? We consume here at MVW, we consume in the web page integrity monitoring platform for Jscrambler. There's a whole other area of solutions that we will explore. But yeah, I could see where somebody today might be like, we got a vendor, we're kind of settling in with it. Maybe we still have more work to do, or maybe, they've promised us new features and, we're kind of sitting around waiting. So that I think, goes back to that answer of not looking, but um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the insight. That's really interesting. And now we have some minutes that we can spend on Q&A. I'm just going to be checking.
I'm a ask me anything type person, and I will be as full disclosure and honest as I can be, just to let
Yes,
everybody know.
we have a question in a Q&A section. How does your team balance performance and security when applying client-side protections? Is there anything important to keep in mind?
My marketing and sales folks were panicking early on in this. And there was other areas of the business. The people that run our HOAs and our COAs, right? You look at the industry, right? It is vacation ownership. We tend to not want to increase friction for our owners in any way, shape, or form. And that would include, busy season, right? Or processing, a couple of dollars worth of HOA renewals every November, December, or when the exchange opens and people are trying to hit those websites and send us money. The marketing and sales folks were flipping out about the weight of the tool. It's for us, it appears weightless. The no performance hit. We did have a team, take a deep dive into it and test it pretty extensively, and the data points that they were coming back with were, I don't want to say virtually irrelevant, right? But the our we have another tool for data privacy to meet cookie requirements, right? Same type of technology where you're relying on putting a piece of JavaScript on a page to monitor the other JavaScript that's on that page, right? Like Jscrambler wasn't my first choice because of that. But our cookie tool is heavier than Jscrambler, and they both do the same thing. No performance hit, virtually. Almost no performance hit. We didn't notice it.
Awesome, thank you. And we have another question. I think you partially covered it, but how would success look like for you with client-side control, perhaps beyond PCI DSS?
I want to kind of dig into that question a little bit, but I'll answer it the way I think. I would like to be able to identify that user that's running that awful browser extension and reach out to them and let them know that they should uninstall it. If I had to say anything, right, like that's when you see it happening and you know that you have absolutely no control over it, and you just want to try to be helpful, and you want to try to give like that good vibe, the good guidance, and that good direction. That's the thing that just
Oh, that's something you would like to ideally.
Sure. I would love to be able to, Katya, I would love to be able to tell you that Google Chrome extension that you installed is sending every keystroke, out somewhere, right? Like yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the
I don't know
next.
if that answers the question. If it doesn't, maybe try asking it again differently.
No, I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're moving towards the end of the webinar. And before we conclude, I want to quickly invite you to another great session happening soon on client-side protection specialists or platforms. It's a webinar based on Forrester research that digs into how teams are thinking about protecting web applications. We'll hear from TJ again, alongside Simon Turner from BT Group and Sandy Carielli from Forrester, who will share their insights on client-side threats, on strategies, on compliance, and how to balance platforms with specialist tools. Gareth Bowker will lead this expert panel from the Jscrambler side. Please, if you're interested in client-side security and what practical takeaways from industry experts, it's well worth your time. So either scan this QR code or access the link in the chat right now and sign up. We're looking forward to seeing you there. And yeah, finally, I just want to thank everyone for attending today. Stay in touch with Jscrambler by subscribing to our newsletter, follow us on LinkedIn, visit the Jscrambler website, and you can get in touch with TJ or follow him via LinkedIn. Thank you everyone so much.
If anybody reaches out to me on LinkedIn and asks for a follow-up conversation with me, I'll do my best to respond to all of those.
Thank you, TJ. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you, everyone, and I hope everyone is having a great rest of their day. Thank you.
Good job, Katya.
Thank you. Bye.